Tim here, Tim's Workshop. Hey, today we're going to do a video on my Yamaha 4-horse 4-stroke outboard engine. We're going to be removing the lower unit and inspecting the impeller and cleaning cleaning everything up, and so I'll be showing the removal and installation with tips along the way. So hopefully this will help you. Please hit a like if you like the video, and please subscribe, leave comments, and hit the notification bell. Thanks. So, rag up here on the screwdriver not to mess up the paint, and get this cap off of here. There we go. Okay. All right. This is the connector that connects the upper rod to the lower rod. That's part of the lower unit. So there's no some Yamahas, or most Yamahas, have a cover access on both sides. This 4-horse 4-stroke 4-stroke Yamaha 4-horse has just one access cover. So it makes it pretty difficult to get the connector apart. So what we do, let's see, first off, put it in reverse, okay? That way it's right there where you need it. So when you put this thing back together, make sure you have it in reverse so your connections are correct, okay? So we'll loosen this connector up. It has two parts, one the back side and the forward side. So when you disconnect this, you don't want to go too far. You can actually disconnect this thing and keep this part on there, and then when you put it back together, you can just sandwich it back over the your other connection, and then tighten it back down. I found that out after doing this a couple times. Okay, there's two bolts. There's one here, and then there's one over here, and then there's a third one here, but the third one holds on your anoid for keeping the corrosion off the engine. So just kind of watch it now and then. When it starts deteriorating, gets in pretty bad shape, then go ahead and change it and put a new one on. As you notice, I need a new prop for this, but for a trolling motor, doesn't really make any difference for now. But if I need it to get up to a certain RPM, I'm going to have to change this thing. Okay, got one out. All right. Loosen this up more. If it falls apart, it'll come down. See if I can do this. There we go. Yeah. Okay. There we go. Okay. shift rod. So let's take the water pump apart, and I'll show you what to look for on that. It's a new water pump, so it should still be in good shape, but we'll at least take it apart so we can show you. So this rubber mount here, that's where your water comes up through, and then it goes, there's a copper tube inside here. When you push this back up in there, you want the copper tube to be inside this, okay? And then this part of it, you want to clean it all up. I got brake cleaner. I'll go through all that when I show you how to put this thing back together. All right, so I got the lower unit pulled apart, and I'll show you what I'm going to do as far as cleaning and other tips on this. And hopefully it'll help you out on this 4-horse, 4-stroke Yamaha. So this is the lower unit, okay? And these parts here, this is the cover, okay? And let me set this down for a second. This cover has this metal cup that sits inside here, and see how it has this opening right here, okay? That's where the water flow comes through the tube, and the impeller pushes the water up through this tube, okay? So I'm going to clean all this up, okay? This is a gasket that sits on top of the metal plate, the closeout plate, okay? Gasket's still good. I'm just going to clean it up. It has salt in this because I've been running it in salt, okay? And see this screw right here? It says wash. It's not one of those oil screws. This has the lower one and the upper one. Well, I've never hooked up a wash to this before, so I'm going to look into it and get a little adapter to wash this out. I'll put a little more on here. Well, to get it all off, I would actually need to get some fine grit sandpaper, like wet and dry or something like that. But just to get the impeller off here, I think we're about good enough here. I just don't want it too hard to get the impeller off. All right, let's slide this impeller off of here. Let's put a little grease on it, make it a little easier to get off. And back on, as far as that goes. this is just the marine grease 24C, I believe it is. Oh yeah, see how that just came right off, no problem. All right, microphone cord out of the way here. All right, so let's get the plate off here. Hey, I looked up this wash line here, and what it is, there's an adapter that you buy. I'll post it on this video here, the actual part number of it. And you buy it, and it has an adapter. It'll screw into this, okay? But then it has a hose adapter that you can turn on your garden hose to it. And what it does, because this is so small to put like earmuffs on, which I usually put the whole motor in a barrel full of water anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But if you're doing it like you want to use muffs and do it, if you have this adapter, you could hook it to a water hose and run water through it, through your motor, just by attaching it to this wash spot here on the outdrive, on the lower unit. Okay. Anyway, let's get this stuff out of here. It's actually not too bad. A lot of this stuff is the way I left it after I cleaned it last time. So there's just a little bit of salt on here. There's some salt right there. There we go. Bunch of it over here. All right, let's take some WD-40 and hit it. Yeah, starting to rain. Bummer. Have to go inside here. Crap. Now my seat's going to get all wet. Actually, I should just let that soak for a while till the rain stops. Yeah, I think I'll just let it soak for a while. Put it in the bucket. Let it soak until it quits raining. All right, we'll come back to this. Alrighty, so the rain stopped. Let me get my towels. Where'd they go? There they go. Well, until the next squall, we'll get this, wipe the water off my seat. Start with. All right. So, get some more paper towel here. Wipe off the edges where the gasket's going to go on this. Kind of clean up everything. Okay, so that's ready to go. Grease the excess off the impeller there. It's going to get more anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But in case it got debris on it, there we go. Good enough for now. Swipe the plate off. All right, got that clean. Got that clean. Okay. Okay, put that down in there. Okay, you can see the two little tabs sticking out here. That's what catches this to keep it in one spot. But once you screw it down and put it over the impeller, that's what holds it on there. So it just keeps it from this whole plate from spinning around with the impeller. So you don't want that to happen. And let's see. Okay. A little grease on that. There we go. Wipe this off. Okay, that's ready to go. That's ready to go. The gasket. Okay, that looks good enough. Okay, so let's put the metal plate back on first. Okay, like this, I believe. See the pins? That one there and that one there. So that's the way it goes, just like that. Okay. Then the gasket. Okay, it's upside down. Flip it over. Fits on the pins. Okay. A little grease on the plate. Where the impeller spins. Okay. Then there's the pin. Grease on the pin. Pin goes in here, just like that. Now the impeller. And see how the impeller's got kind of curve to it? So that's the way you want it going down like that, because this spins this way. Okay? So when you're using a used impeller, go with the way the fins are bending. That's how you put it back on. I would anyway. Let's put some more grease on this shaft here. Get the impeller on. Okay. See the little notch on the impeller? You want it to fit right over that pin. There we go. Okay, now this goes over the top. Now you want to put a little bit of pressure on this cover and turn it clockwise, and there we go. Now it's on there. Okay, now we're going to put the retainers and the bolts back on, but before we do, we'll put a little anti-seize on the threads, because these do get corroded up. A wire brush. Okay. Put that in there like that. Okay. Grab another one. No, somebody else has had anti-seize on here before I can see it. Wasn't me. I just read about this. Somebody suggested it, and I went, well, so you don't put Loctite on it, apparently. So we'll put anti-seize on it. I'm taking it apart every year anyway, so it's not like it's going to hurt anything. I don't think it's going to come apart. Oh, by the way, this spacer, don't lose it. Okay, that's for the bolt going in back in to hold the lower unit on. So it's loose. I guess you could take something and like a little dab of seal or something to put it on so it doesn't fall out. But just so you're aware, you might lose it. Go, oh, where the hell's this go? Well, that's where it goes. All right, we'll just use a 10mm wrench to finish tighten these. Don't tighten one side all the way down. Just kind of go around and across from each other until it's snug. Don't over tighten it. This is plastic. And snug, and snug, that's snug. Okay, we're good to go there. Okay, let's grease it up for reinstallation here. We already put some on the tube there. Put some on the spline. Use a good amount on it. That goes into the engine. This is lubed up pretty good. Put a little more on it. It does tend to burn because it gets hot in this area. This is stainless steel, so I won't meld it. And put a little on this. Don't go all the way down where the connections are, but just enough to get it up through the little rubber grommet here. All right. And then probably should clean these. A little anti-seize. So we'll go up in the hole here. This rubber grommet, that's where the little copper tube has got to go into it. Just put the looking in the hole here. Get it started like that. See? Now go up inside here. This has got to come up through this little rubber grommet there. There we go. Okay, now the next battle is getting the tube to go in this rubber. There we go. Now we need to turn it, the prop, There we go. Okay, now we got that on. So we get one of these bolts started. Yeah, that's the hardest part. But if you're doing it every day, like professionally, it's probably a lot easier. Okay. Okay. There's that one. Brush this one off a little bit. This has a washer on it. It's not a lock washer either. So I might want to check that and make sure I got the washer on it. Let's see. Yep, it's there. All right. Tighten these down. Okay, that's tight. Okay, that's tight. Okay, next is this. Okay. Reverse, neutral, forward. There we go. So there's a, you could see on the bottom of this, there's a little bit of rust there. So you want this part on the little spacer stop right over here. And then you want to get this here, you want to get it so it's in the right spot on this rod. You know, and you just have to play with it until you get it in the right spot. So it's tight. It works. Neutral, reverse, forward, reverse. All right. So that should do it. Now we put the cap back on. Put a little WD-40 on it. And there we go. Wipe her down. like I said, I'm gonna have to replace this prop. I can get one for about $60, so it's not that expensive. It costs like $50 to have it to have it re-welded and fixed, but you might as well buy a new one. I guess if they didn't make them anymore and you couldn't get one, that would be that'd be an option. But they have them. I don't know if they're refurbished. I think they're brand new. Sitting on a shelf for OMC, Yamaha. Okay, so that's it. All back together. And yeah, so don't take that thing all the way apart. And then as you're pulling the lower unit out, lift it up with your finger a little bit at a time until you get it out. And then putting it back in, get it started into that one first before you get your tube in your hose and all that. Get it up through this grommet. That's fun. You can actually, when you push up on it, you can see the grommet moving. So if you're seeing the grommet move, you're close. And then it'll go in there. And then the next step is, you know, play with your finger on that connector to get it up to where it's almost there. And you got to get the copper tube into the rubber outlet. It's on the pump housing, so you got to get that copper tube into that. And then the gear going up into the head, you got to churn the with this thing in gear, churn the prop, and the spline will go into where it's supposed to go, and then it should just pop right in. Okay, then get your bolts on there, tighten them up. There we go.